painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Art Beat, we take a look at the 18th annual Frozen River Film Festival and sit down with local filmmaker Mary Farrell to talk about her film, Healthy Lake Winona, which was shown at this year's festival. The film follows the efforts of local organizers dedicated to cleaning up Lake Winona. The Healthy Lake Winona community was formed in 2014 by a group of local citizens in an effort to improve the quality of the lake. In the film, Farrell documents the group's efforts to address problems with the lake, including runoff, invasive species, and the goose population. The Frozen River Film Festival is a yearly event showcasing many films, including local filmmakers focusing on community-based documentaries. I'm Abby Hawkey. Join us as KQAL's Dylan Alzate sits down with local filmmaker Mary Farrell from the 2024 Frozen River Film Festival today on Art Beat.
All right, so why don't we just get started with the first simple question, a quick summary of your movie for those who haven't seen it.
Okay, sure. So the name of the film is Healthy Lake Winona. And what the film is about is a group of people in Winona who formed after there was it has a longer history than I shouldn't say, but the group that I worked with is a group that was focusing on the fact that the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency has listed Lake Winona as an impaired lake. And so they set out with a goal to improve the quality of the lake. So my work involved meeting with the group and filming their initiatives, the initiatives that they were doing to improve the quality, such as stormwater runoff, rain gardens, reduction of goose population, restoring the shoreline, planting prairie, and removing invasive species. So I really kind of was focused in on those initiatives and to show how this group is doing what they can to improve the quality of the lake.
Awesome. And what motivated you to choose such a powerful topic?
So I've gotten involved in documentary filmmaking. This particular film was my fifth film. So I've been doing filmmaking for a while and kind of on the side. And so I've been just choosing topics that, obviously interest to me. And actually, when I was in the grocery store one day, a friend of mine was there and she came up to me and she said, Mary, I'm with this group, this Healthy Lake Winona group, and these are some of the things we're doing. And I think you might want to check it out and see if this might. She knew I was doing documentary filmmaking. So I decided to go to one of their meetings. They have monthly meetings. And I was really impressed with the group and what they were doing. And, I like Lake Winona. We all like Lake Winona. And the thought that, this group was really trying to do their best to basically, it's got too much phosphorus in it. So, and then you get this plant growth and whatnot and invasive aquatic species. So I thought it was a good, I like to do films that something good is happening, and that people are trying to make a change in their communities.
Yeah. So you mentioned you've done filmmaking for a while. What got you started into filmmaking?
So we have a Frozen River Film Festival.
Yeah.
And it's been, this is the 19th year. We just finished the last weekend was the 19th season. And I would say back in like 2013 or so, I had been going to every festival. And I was at that festival in 2013. And I saw a film about Aldo Leopold, who is the conservationist out of Wisconsin. And I just an idea just completely popped into my head at that moment when I watched the film. I thought, I wonder about doing a film about John Latch, our own local conservationist. And up to this point, I'm a photographer, so mostly I'm doing still photography. So I had never done documentary filmmaking or filmmaking at all. I had this idea. I kind of liked the idea. So why don't I talk about it to some people at Frozen River? And so I did. And they were very encouraging, even though they knew, I had never done this before. But they were so good at just kind of helping me along and kind of giving me advice and encouragement, really just encouragement. So I went about pursuing making this film. And I, decided I needed to put together a team of people. And actually one of them at the time was Terry 10th Market, who used to do some work here at KQAL.
Really?
Yeah, I asked her if she'd be willing to do the filming because I was not familiar with using video or camera. So she said yes, and so she started working on it, and it ended up she had to leave the project. So I decided, well, I guess I'm going to have to start doing video myself. And once I did that, I was like hooked. I was hooked. I thought, okay, yeah. So the first film was John Latch, the Man and His River, and it debuted at the 2017 Frozen River Film Festival. And that year, I have to say, it won the People's Choice Award.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was fun. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that must have been awesome.
It was.
Awesome. So in terms of Healthy Lake Winona, what were your personal struggles behind making this film? Like the writing, the cinematography, the technology? Technology
is always an issue for me. I was able to really interview quite a few people and good quality people, very articulate, very knowledgeable. And, I had filmed one particular person, John Howard. He works for the city of Winona. He's the sustainability coordinator. And so I said, okay, John, let's film you and interview you at the visitor center. I was at the time working for Visit Winona, and I was able to get into the visitor center. And so we did that. And it was a good interview. However, it was poorly orchestrated because it was later in the day. The light was starting to go. There was background headlights coming out. I just...
Oh, yeah.
He said great things. And so I said, John, we're going to have to redo this. We're going to have to do this somewhere else. And so we ended up, doing it at City Hall. But... So that made me a little crazy. I was feeling inadequate, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean, the setting has to be right because otherwise if the lights are flickering and there's too much background noise, people are going to be like, oh.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
They're not going to focus on the interviewee. They're going to focus on the fact that the lights are flickering on and off.
Yeah. And I didn't want to make John look bad either. I didn't want to make myself look bad. Yeah, and then I did another interview. I did it down at the Frozen River Film Office. And when I was watching the film the other day, I showed it at Frozen River, on Sunday. And I was watching the Gabe Erickson interview. And I was like, oh, that shadow's in there. Gosh darn it, Mary. So, stuff like that. Yeah. But otherwise, it was, one of the challenges was going after the goose nest. Mm-hmm. We had to go out into the mucky muck.
Oh.
And I had to find a pair of waders, and we're going to go see, we're going to go approach this goose nest with the goose in it. And I'd never done that before. So, I'm sitting with mucky muck up to my, waist, and I'm trying to pull my feet up. And, the goose are on the nest, but eventually they leave the nest, and John replaces the goose eggs that are in the nest with ceramic eggs. This whole time the goose are kind of hanging out, and I'm going, what's happening here? And it all turned out fine. They got a little agitated, but not bad. But anyway, and then back at the lake, because this was just not too far from the visitor center where we found the nests, and I was headed back to the lake path, and we had a woman there. She was writing down information that John was sharing with her from the nest. Anyway, she was talking with the gentleman, and when I approached her, the gentleman was gone. I said, oh, I was kind of curious. What were you talking about with that gentleman? And she said, well, he said he wished you would drown because he was, he did not approve of removing goose eggs. So I understand there's people that are not in favor of that.
In favor of messing with the geese.
Yeah, they don't think it's right to destroy the eggs. But there's the other side of it. So it has been approved by some animal rights groups. So
Good. So I mean, as long as it's deemed unhumane by certain groups, and it helps everything in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you cannot remove them at a certain stage. So John would test them. He would put the eggs in a bucket of water and test to see if they floated or didn't, and then he determined whether or not to take the egg or not.
That's good. Flipping around from struggles, what were your favorite parts? What were the absolute bits of filmmaking that made this movie enjoyable and worthwhile?
The topic itself, and learning the backstory. What I always like to do is, we have to get some history to this. In fact, a Winona State professor, Neil Mundall, is a main character in the film because he's been on the committee in its different forms for quite a few years, back when actually Kel Fremling was still here, I believe. And so just learning what these people know about the water and the invasive species. They're very, very intelligent people, and I just really enjoyed getting to know them, getting to hear what their expertise is, and then combining it with I'm kind of a sleuth. I really like kind of looking for and doing research and finding out getting the archival photos and putting that all together. So overall, it was just a really enjoyable experience.
That's really good. That's really nice. Putting together all the archival footage, especially. That's putting together a story on how it was way back when.
Yeah. Well, so here's the other part. I worked for Visit Winona, the tourism office, and our offices are in the Winona County Historical Society. And my office was a hop, skip, and a jump from the archives. Ooh. So, that was the other inspiration, I think, for doing kind of local historic or contemporary issues, is just the connection to the Historical Society and the archival office there. I mean, there's people coming and going and doing research, and people are donating things, and I'm always kind of, because we would share the copy room, and I would just kind of snoop around and see what was new and what had people donated, and anyway, so that by osmosis was really been part of my process too, my wanting to do the filmmaking.
Awesome. So in the film, is there anything that you wish that you could have added that could have been interesting to put in that maybe could have been included?
It's a good question. Mostly, it's one of those things where it's like it's never done. So now they want to do, a carp study, because of the invasive carp. So it's more like, did I really finish this film? But I think for the most part, I was able to capture the story, and what's going on with it. But I also think I could probably do another round or something,
Right.
Because it's not, it didn't. So, okay, here's the thing. So I interviewed a woman that works for the MPCA, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. So she's in the film. And she came to the screening, not this one. There was a first screening back in April, actually, at the Art Center on Earth Day. And she came to that screening. After we finished it, she came up to the front, and she was able to report that they had gone back to test the water quality, because they do these testings every so many years. And there was improvement shown in the water quality. Not like a ton, not like, but she said there was an improvement.
There is improvement. Good. That's really nice. That's really good to see that at least there's progress. It's not big progress, but that means that it's bound to get better.
Yeah.
With enough effort.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Are there any other projects that you have in the queue? Like any other documentaries, subjects?
Well, so funny you should ask. The Healthy Lake Winona is my 5th film. So my 6th one that I just showed was the Laird's Legacy, the history of the Winona Public Library. So they're celebrating their 125th anniversary as a library. And so as a special anniversary project, they reached out and said, there was a book book written in 2016 on the history of the public library. So they thought, what about making a documentary? We could base it on that book. So that's what we did. So I just showed that film just about 2 weeks ago at the public library. We had 3 showings over the course of a week. And it was very well attended. People love the library. People were interested in learning about it. Yes, so that is my latest, and that will show at Frozen River next year. We weren't able to get it in this year. We really wanted to have the library have the focus of being able to show that film. And that Frozen River, it was just too close to Frozen River. So, yeah, That's my latest one.
Awesome. Yeah, I read that off the River Arts Alliance.
Oh,
page.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that you're involved in the Alliance as well.
I'm a member of the River Arts Alliance. I am. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. You want to tell me a little more about it?
The Arts Alliance?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, I've been a member some years now, and so it's really a membership, based organization for artists, all kinds of, all different mediums. I joined as the photographer, so I get, as a member, you get to have a web presence. So they have a website, and then they will provide you with a web page. So I have 2 pages, one for photography and one for filmmaking. There's writers and dancers and painters and sculpture, everybody. And so it's really a great opportunity. For me personally, I really like the idea of being able to have some kind of web presence. I don't have my own website. And then they have all kinds of, so last night, for instance, I went to this arts exchange that they've been collaborating with the Minnesota Marine Art Museum and providing programming. So last night at Minnesota Marine Art Museum, there was an event, and it was all about this woman who's a playwright and into theater and costuming. She presented a kind of historical review of some of these costumes she has. And she had some women displaying or wearing these old costumes. And then she accompanied it with some text. Anyway, so they have these ongoing arts exchange. And then they have schmoozes, every couple of months, I guess it is. So schmoozes. And artists kind of have an opportunity to see each other and spend time together, learn from each other, and so on. And then, yes, so that's between the schmoozes and the arts exchange, and then they have an annual meeting, and they have a show, they have a annual exhibit, and it's a member exhibit. So it's been in different locations. I think the last location was the Blue Heron Coffee House.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's an opportunity too for artists to build. We each can show one piece. Yeah, because there's quite a few members.
Right. All right. So yeah, is there any other way that people are able to reach you or find out more about your different projects?
The River Arts Alliance has, like I said, my 2 web pages, but I am so I just retired from my career at Visit Winona, and my goal is to get sort of all that together, all my films kind of put on YouTube or Vimeo, whatever. That's a retirement project.
Awesome. We'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of a bit behind on that. So, I mean, I have, like the public library one, that went on, because part of the grant was then to put it on YouTube. So it's on YouTube right now. But the other ones are sort of some private channels. Yeah, so all that stuff all has to be figured out so people can get access to it. Now, I will say this. Kendall Larson here at Winona State, over at the Kruger Library, she has reached out to me and asked if the Open River site here at Winona State could be if I could have my films put into that open river site. Are you familiar with that?
Open River site?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah, there's quite a lot of good information on there. There's the one, you've got the Winona Newspaper Project, then you've got the Open River. I think it was so.
Okay.
Anyway, accessible to anybody, obviously, and to students, and so you'd be able to go in there. And so we haven't finished the conversation yet, but that is the plan, that I will give her some original files of all my films, so that students, faculty, and whomever would have access to it.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's really interesting. We'll be looking forward to that.
Okay, good.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to add before we quick wrap this up?
I was going to say, too, because you had asked me about current projects. Right. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with KSMQ Public TV out of Austin, Minnesota.
I don't seem familiar with it.
Okay. So they have a program called Off 90. It's things that happen off Interstate 90.
Mm-hmm.
So I have done 4 features for them. Currently, I'm working on 2 with them, and one is here. They're both in Winona, and one is on the 125th anniversary of the Winona Public Library, and the other will be the 100th anniversary of Blado Donuts, a Blado Bakery.
Woo!
Yeah. They're short things. They're under 10 minutes long.
Right. But still, it's Blado's.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, so hopefully later down the line we'll see it at the Frozen River Film Fest.
Right.
A whole feature film about Blado's Donuts.
The one part I'm not looking forward to is when I went to make a plan with the Blado Bakery manager. I said, okay, so I'll come and film the bakery and how that process works, and I said, so maybe about 5 o'clock in the morning. She goes, oh no, midnight. They start at midnight. So I'm not a big late night person, so that'll be a challenge, but I'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you so much.
A huge thanks to Mary Farrell, as well as the organizers of the Frozen River Film Festival, for making this episode possible. To check out more of the event itself, go to ffrf.org. To check out more of Mary's work, find her on Facebook or riverartsalliance.org. I'm Abby Hawkey, and for more conversations on art, tune into Artbeat Tuesdays at 12:30 right here on 89.5 KQAL. For podcasts of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to kqal.org.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.